please. What makes you decide to play a certain tune? I mean, what was it, Love is a Simple Thing?
Love is a Simple Thing.
Well, I mean, you know, I haven't heard that in a while. And the thing is, like, what do you look for in a tune? A harmonic progression, the melody, a remembrance of somebody playing it? I mean, what constitutes when you say, yes, I want to play that, or no, I don't want to play that?
Well, all of those things make me want to play a tune. Years ago, Ray Brown brought in a tune written by a friend of his, a very simple melody. Well, harmonically, there really isn't anything to that tune, but the melody intrigued me. Mm-hmm. There are other tunes that harmonically they used to reach me. Another thing that sort of gets to me is suspense in a tune. I call them points of tension, you know.
Show me what you mean.
Well, when I play a tune like Tenderly, if I play that, I try to create tension. Mm-hmm. So I'll harmonically change it around so that hopefully, and not really that purposefully, but hopefully the audience subconsciously will feel this happening if I play it like this. Resolve it at the last moment so that everyone can go.
Resolve it,
you know.
Will you?
Well, it's the same as going.
Yes.
Yeah. You know? And they all sit and wait for. Right?
Well, yeah, but that's easier.
Yeah, but it's a lot easier. Right? But that's the way I would. So if a tune moves that way for me, I'll hear.
Did you, in fact, when you were studying, I mean, when you were a kid practicing, did you go through the whole classical thing too?
Yes, I did.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
So you sat, I mean, with exercises and all that?
The Czerny, the Hannon.
Really?
Yeah.
And then one day you said, what, the hell with it? I mean, you just said, forget this, right? Or what?
I found that there were certain things that made me want to play them another way, which you know is not the way you do it. And so, being frustrated, I would take these different selections I was learning classically, and I would try moving around jazz-wise, and it didn't happen really because I still don't think it happens today. And through that, I found out that basically I was a player, not an interpreter.
Yeah, well, I think that it's, I don't know about you, but it's just opinion. I don't like it when people take classical things and try to play jazz on them. Not because the pieces are sacrosanct, but because I think I mean, there's better things to blow on.
It's false.
Yeah, because there's that fellow that plays Bach, you know, all the time with the rhythm section. I mean, that's a joke, because it's neither Bach nor jazz nor anything, you know.
Well, that can be a gimmick, you know, because you get the best of both worlds, supposedly, but you don't really. But,
no, well, I mean, you know, we weren't really going to do one of those programs where they say, and up the river came jazz, right?
Right.
But I've never really enjoyed reading books on the history of jazz. You know, I don't know, because people draw conclusions for journalistic reasons, and it worries me sometimes.
Well, I think that, you know, speaking of the players that I admired, my idols, people like Nat Cole, most of the great players will freely admit to their influences. Yeah. You know, they'll say, I've heard Lester Young talking about Herschel Evans and Dick, I can't remember his last name, another saxophonist, you know, talking about Coleman Hawkins. I hear Dizzy talking about Roy Elgar, you know. Yeah. And I think it's a normal thing. I don't think anyone has to really strive to come out of someone. You automatically come out of someone if you're influenced that deeply by them, you know. And the piano, though, to me it's very interesting, because the piano really, for all of the years that it was just part of a background section, so to speak, a rhythm section, throughout all of this, there were still the players that other players came to hear. You know, which says a lot for the instrument, and says a lot for what the players were doing. You know, I know a lot of great, to draw an analogy, I know a lot of great third alto saxophone players in big bands, and, you know, fourth tenor players. Yeah. But not too many people go to hear them, right? On their own.
But, you know, the one fierce problem, one of the fierce problems of being a traveling jazz pianist, I think would be the choice of the instrument. Because, you know, I mean, this is all very luxurious and beautiful, but how many times have you walked into a club and seen the piano or played it and then just, you know, fallen over at the prospect of having to beat some life into that thing for a while?
First time I heard Art Tatum in a club in Cleveland, he was missing about 7 notes right in this area. Yeah. He was, and I sat there. It was his closing night, and I sat there and I was marveling at what he was playing. I knew the piano was out of tune. That's, well, yeah, but, you know, when I played, it didn't matter too much. And he came down and we said hello and so forth, and he said, the nightclub owner was sitting with us, and he said, I'll never forget the remark, he said, you know, you have a young man coming in here that I think is talented. He's coming in. He said, okay, I've been around for a while, and you've got me playing that monster up there. Why don't you get him an instrument, you know? And it didn't fizzle on the nightclub owner at all. He just, you know, his pet remark, and this is true, is that he said, what are you talking about? He said, I just had that thing painted last week.
Yeah,
right?
Sure. I tell you though, when I was around playing the circuit for a while, you know, I always dreaded going into a club if the fellow who had just closed had been Dave Brubeck, because he used to have absolutely, you know, into smithereens. That was really difficult work, because he used to really, he must have played with 10 anvils. It was really difficult.
Well, Dave gets excited. He does, really. Dave, I've tried to analyze his playing.
Yeah.